Hello, my name's Dermot O'Neill and I'm going to show you how to do a quick migration using Oracle SQL Developer. The first thing to note is Oracle SQL Developer is available for free up on OTN. You can download the product, it comes in a zip file, just unzip it into any directory you want and off you start. So I am going to start it up here. So I'm going to do this from scratch. I'm going to do end-to-end migration of a Sybase database just to get a feel for it, and I hope to do that. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Okay, well, first off we need a connection to an Oracle database because we're going to migrate to an Oracle database, but we also need an Oracle database to even begin a migration, because SQL Developer uses a set of tables which we call our migration repository to hold information about the migration. So we need an Oracle database just to create those tables in. So I'm just going to connect to system. This is kind of like my super user, I suppose. And I'm going to create a brand new schema in here for the migration repository tables. I'm going to put it in a new schema because I'd like to blow it away. I'd like to drop that schema at the very end of the migration. So it's handy just to put those tables inside its own schema. You need a couple of privileges here. You need grant connect, resource, and create view. I'll call this demo migration repo. I'll give it the same password because I'm lazy. Okay, I'm going to create a new connection to that. So this is just an empty schema at the moment, doesn't have any tables or packages or anything. But I can right click on it and choose migration repository, associate migration repository, and this just creates the tables it requires for SQL Developer to kick off a migration. Okay, great. So that's complete. Now I need to connect to my Sybase database. And if you look at connections again, you can see that it only gives me an option for Oracle or Access. It doesn't give me an option yet for SQL Server, Sybase, or any other database. So the first thing I need to do is actually download the JTDS driver, because we use the JTDS driver for SQL Server connections and Sybase connections. We don't use Microsoft's own JDBC driver. We don't use Sybase's own JDBC driver. It has to be this particular driver, and not only that, it has to be a particular version, and at the moment we're only supporting JTDS 1.2, so the latest version here is no good. We have to download an older version than that. This is JTDS is an open source project. It's up on SourceForge. You can just Google it and find where it is, and you want to download the 1.2 driver. Now that downloads as a zip file, and when you extract those files, there's one jar file in there called jtds 1.2.jar. That's the file we want to use. So I've already downloaded this, so I can start using it straight away. So you go up to Tools, Preferences, and inside the database preference, there's a third-party JDBC driver, and we want to add in our JTDS jar file there. Okay. Now when I try and create connection, I got my SQL Server and Sybase are available to me. So I'm going to create a Sybase connection here to the standard samples database in Sybase is called pubs2. Now this one doesn't have a password. Okay, so pubs2. You have to retrieve the database first. There's always a default database that you connect to. So even though you may have the server details, you still have to choose a default database that this connection is related to. So you do that first, then you can test the connection and we can connect to it. So now we have a connection to a Sybase database. And we can actually browse all the databases, or Sybase server should I say, and we can browse all the databases. We can have a look down here, see the tables. We try and allow you to browse most of the objects in Sybase. There's no data in that one. Let me try another one. But it's not this browser isn't as fully featured as obviously the one we would have for Oracle. For example, when you right and click in here, we don't have a wizard to help you create new tables in Sybase. We don't have a lot of the actions that we would have on an Oracle connection, but we do allow you to browse the objects and also run queries as well. So I have a worksheet here that's the connection is against my Sybase database, and I can still do simple queries and things like that. So we want to get this, kick the migration off. So what we have is a wizard. You can right click on that database or the connection itself and go migrate to Oracle. And this wizard is going to walk you through the entire migration end to end. Now at any stage you can say, okay, I just want to perform the capture part, I want to perform the migrate part, I don't want to actually move the data yet. At any stage you can always click proceed to summary page and click next, which will bring you onto the last page, or you can just click finish and it'll just kick off. And it'll just kick off and perform whatever steps you've already outlined. So it won't, if I click finish here, it won't go ahead and start doing the capture or anything. So it's asking me here, what is the connection for the repository? Well, it's called demo migration repo. I give this a project name, demo migration, an output directory. I have a demo migration directory here, I'll use that. This directory is used for when we have to generate or save some files. We can save it into that directory. I'm going to do this online, but there's a couple of options here, on and offline. I'll choose the database I want, pubs2. So now that's going to capture pubs2 into my migration repository. It's not going to, it's only capturing the metadata at this point. It's not going to capture the actual data in the database, but just metadata about the tables and procedures. I'm going to perform a convert. This shows you the default data type mappings. The target database, I wanted to go into my system. Now this is important to remember here that we're using this connection system to migrate over into our Oracle database, but the objects themselves by default won't be created inside this schema. So it won't be created inside schema or inside system schema. What's going to happen is we use the system schema to create a brand new schema, and inside the brand new schema we put the objects. So the tables and procedures won't reside underneath this system schema. I'm going to drop the target objects as well because I've performed this before. So this will just give us a clean slate. There's also an offline mode here, but I won't talk about that at the moment. And we're going to move the data as well from Sybase using my system schema. Again, the data is not pumped into the system schema, but because this is a powerful enough privileged schema, I can use this to move data into other schemas. So that's everything. This is just a quick breakdown. Let's kick that off. So it's going to capture information into a repository, convert it into a converted model, which still lives in the repository. Then it's going to generate a script. It's going to run that script against my Oracle database and create the objects and the schemas. Then once the objects are created, it's going to move the data over. Now, the way we're moving data here is called online data move. It's only really suitable for smaller data sets. So that's complete. So now if I just have a quick look at the migration project, you can see we have a captured database, converted databases. These are just models inside our migration repository. They're not real databases as such, but you can see what would happen. You can see maybe, for example, a procedure that would have got converted. So if I right click here and choose compare with original, you see this was the original T-SQL and this is the converted PL/SQL. We can see that there's also a schema here called DBO_pubs2. So we can create a connection to that. And when this is a real Oracle database now that we've just created. We can have a look in the orders table and see that the data was moved. So that's the hard part done. If we click on anywhere here on our migration tree, we can see there's a number of migration reports, and some of them will help us find out, well, what's missing or what was valid and not valid. So these will help us figure out any of the problems that were encountered, and we can resolve them. So that's a very quick 10-minute show and tell of how you can migrate a Sybase database. There's much more to it than that, but that's the general flow. So thanks very much.